everyone. How are we doing? One more week until the portal for the 2022 Saturday Visitor Awards opens, and you are free and invited to enter Poe-inspired works, either adapting or original works inspired by Poe for the awards. So excited that we're almost there, and happy birthday, Edgar Allan Poe. It is birthday week next week. It's a big deal for museums, and we're seeing a lot of really great activities that are going to be available online, including, as a matter of fact, the Poe Baltimore celebration of Poe's birthday. We usually have a party called Poe-zella at Zella's Pizzeria here in Baltimore. Unfortunately, with the COVID surge, our event has also gone online, so we'll be chatting about that with you this evening. But one more week. That's what, 6 sleeps? That's how the kids are saying it these days, 6 sleeps until the portal does open for the awards. My name is Enrica Jang. I am the executive director for Poe Baltimore, the Edgar Allan Poe House and Museum in Baltimore, Maryland. I'm also the Saturday Visitor Awards administrator. And often I am the one answering your questions, and I'm the one who's doing triage on the entries as they come in, getting them ready for the packaging them for the judges, for our slate of judges, which we'll be announcing towards the end of this month. But a little bit of a plug for Poe Baltimore, so people understand who we are. Poe Baltimore is the nonprofit organization created to fund, maintain, and interpret the Edgar Allan Poe House and Museum in beautiful Baltimore, Maryland, the last surviving home in the city of Baltimore, where Poe and his family were known to have lived in the city. Second part of our mission, though, is to share with people the outsized impact Edgar Allan Poe has on popular culture, really draw a line from Edgar Allan Poe to the present day, and celebrate Poe's legacy here in Baltimore and beyond. And we do that with programs like the Saturday Visitor Awards, recognizing a new generation of artists and writers inspired by Edgar Allan Poe. So a little bit of a plug for Poe House as ever. We are open every Thursday through Sunday, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Now, because COVID ruins everything, you need a reservation to come and see Poe House now, but we're getting into a little bit of a slow season, so more often than not, there are spots available. So please visit poebaltimore.org to make a reservation. Come to Poe House if you are able. Folks across the pond or around the world, if you can't come and see us yet, we do have a number of virtual programs that we are planning this year. As a matter of fact, as I said, the birthday Poe-zella, we were hoping for the return of Poe-zella this year, but it has been moved online, which is why I'm sharing it with everybody before we dive into our final tips and tricks for Saturday Visitor Awards. We have moved our party online. Next Wednesday, 7 p.m., we will have a virtual toast to Poe, as well as Poe-Olympics trivia. So if you carry a torch for all things Edgar Allan Poe and you want to have a really good time with your fellow Poe heads as we share, raise a glass or two, or whatever you're doing at home. You're home, it's safe, for Edgar Allan Poe. Join us for Poe-Olympics trivia. I did even have a person ask, I just want to watch and see the questions. I used to watch my little brother play video games, and I like to watch people play trivia and just, sip a libation and sit back and let that happen. If you want to just join us, you want to hang out with some Poe friends, join us at 7 p.m. Eastern next Wednesday, Edgar Allan Poe's birthday. And then we will be, our celebration is right before the Poe Museum in Richmond begins their virtual toast. So you get to see everything online that night. You won't have to miss anything. So please do consider joining us. And because this is virtual, everybody far and wide can join. It is free to join, and there are prizes and stuff. But speaking of prizes, let's talk about the Saturday Visitor Awards. So this is our last session before the portal opens. We will meet 2 more Thursdays this month. After the portal has opened, we're encouraging everybody to learn about the awards and download information about the awards, get your pieces ready. If you have any questions, there is still time, and we'll talk about the deadline. So dates to remember. The awards portal will open January 19th. That is our call for entries, Poe's birthday. The deadline to enter your pieces is May 30th. So starting Wednesday, the clock will be ticking, and the deadline to enter form will close at 11:59 p.m. Eastern. Will slam the window right down on your fingers. So you want to get those, get your entries in. Generally, the way things work, if the judges are on the ball, if the administrator gets things up to the judges nice and packaged and on time, we are usually announcing the nominees, the official nominees, by July 30th of each year. And then the awards are announced at Poe Fest International. That's the International Edgar Allan Poe Festival and Awards. Now, my obligatory caution that October 8th is the date that is tentatively chalked onto the chalkboard for the award for the festival this year. We all know the times that we're living in. We all know that things change very quickly. So this date may change. This is not the official date yet. This is just the tentative date. So don't make those hotel reservations just yet. We don't want anybody locked into some plans that they cannot change. But aiming for October 8th. Usually the festival is the weekend closest to Edgar Allan Poe's death day, October 7th. So a little bit of trivia there. If there are any questions, we're going to go over some important tips and tricks this evening, but I highly encourage everybody to visit the Saturday Visitor Awards website. That's SaturdayVisitorAwards.org. You can download full PDF of guidelines there. And I stress this, and I want to stress again, even if you have entered the awards previously, even if you're familiar with the awards and you kind of know how this works, I really do encourage you, download those guidelines, read through them. You want to be clear on everything. And what do I like to say? If there's a question, there's no question. You definitely want to get a hold of us. Now tonight, because we're live, I'll stay online as long as I see some eyeballs, see if there are any questions that people want to send my way here in the chat. And if I see them in the comments, I'll try to answer them live tonight. But if you're a little shy or you just want to ask some questions specific to your piece, you can contact us either via the website. There's a portal on the website, or direct email, contact@poefestinternational.org. Send your questions. This is not something, you're not going to spoil the surprise for the administrator. You're not going to spoil the surprise for the judges. They're still going to see your work, the actual entry. Whereas if you need some help putting together your entry, or you just want a little bit of guidance, use that email, send us a message. We want to chat with you. We want you to feel comfortable before you enter your work so you can put your best Poe forward. So contact@poefestinternational.org, or visit the website, or use the opportunity this evening to chat with me. The one thing we do ask is, it's really tempting to send a direct message on Facebook or send something adding us on Twitter. Don't do that. There are different teams who will look at the social media, and you're not going to get the best answer for your particular entry. So the best way to contact us is through the website, but some important things to note there. So the last few sessions, you can find these videos on YouTube, or find the archive of videos on Facebook, and you can kind of see we have talked about some frequently asked questions. We have talked about some tips and tricks for the entry form. Last session, we even talked about what the judges are looking for, the primary considerations for the judges. I will go over those in brief again tonight. I'll usually try to do that each of the sessions, but if you want a little bit more in-depth information about the entry form, if you want some information about the judges' rounds, either go back to one of the videos, or you can even email and ask your question. We definitely want to hear from you, and I look forward to being able to help. But tonight I will go over some final thoughts. Found a little avatar, I think looks a little bit like me. Some final thoughts to help folks as they're thinking about their entries, thinking about how they're packaging their entries. We've talked about the URLs and how the judges are going to see a visual package of your work. And some people might feel a little bit, that's not as much fun as they'd hope, because it's always better when someone can experience your work, be in the presence of your work, and we understand that because you have to present your work digitally, there are things that the judges might not be readily apparent, and so there is an opportunity in the entry form to explain what the judges might be missing. There's an opportunity to share an artist statement, but I have a couple of final thoughts before the portal opens next week, and a few things to consider that we haven't covered yet. The first is visual elements like book or album covers make a strong impression. Even for non-visual works, we have had some incredible array of mediums, an incredible array of genres of works nominated for the Saturday Visitor Awards, winners of the Saturday Visitor Awards. But one thing that I find really helps the judges and really helps even the artists feel better about the package that they are presenting to the judge is if they can include some kind of visual element, even if the work is musical, even if the work is well, certainly with the painting, there's a visual element there. But if you're sending a novel, you're sending poetry, this kind of thing. Now, if you don't have something that you don't feel comfortable with, this is not something to stress. But if you have it, package it with your PDF. A visual element like a cover does make a strong impression, and it does help, especially for non-visual works. So something to keep in mind. Conversely, if you do have a visual piece, you really want to be as clear as possible about what the judges might be missing and use that opportunity to just say it. You don't have to present it in flowery language. Just say, I really wish you could be in the presence of this thing, because when you're there, you can see the texture, or you can see what I did here and my intention here, and you want to be as explicit as possible so that the judges understand where you're coming from. And try to bridge that gap. But that is one tip or trick. The second is don't at me. Love Poe. We have been tagged as the museum. We do get tagged on some wonderful Poe works. I've seen some wonderful things in the last few months. And while we do love you and we do want to see some of this work, and we welcome people sharing this stuff, if you want true recognition, or you want to get in the gift shop, or you want the museum to see your pieces, and that includes the Poe Museum Richmond, the Cottage in New York. These are organizations that do contribute judges to the Saturday Visitor Awards. A great way to do this is to enter the SVAs, enter your Poe-inspired work. So we can kind of flirt a little bit on Twitter or Instagram, and we love when people tag us in Poe things, because we get to see new things. But what we'd really love is to see your work entered in the Saturday Visitor Awards. So we will express that appreciation by seeing your work entered there. So do consider putting your money where your mouth is and entering your work for consideration for the awards. Finally, when it comes to an artist statement, brevity is often the best approach when it comes to your artist statement. Now, you are given quite a bit of room. I believe it's something like 10,000 characters to share your vision with the judges. You are asked, how does Poe inspire this work, and asked to draw the direct line from Edgar Allan Poe to your work, so that the judges can see the connection, see how you are adapting or inspired by Poe. But I've seen some very long artist statements that it's a little bit soul crushing to see the block of text that some artists send. And I am a very enthusiastic person and love to just, blast to people my enthusiasm and love for Edgar Allan Poe's work. I wouldn't be able to do my job if I didn't have this intense love. But every once in a while, we have to find a way to be as succinct and brief as possible in our artist statement. And sometimes that is more powerful than the long-winded statement. So I do find that the judges tend to respond to succinct, concise, brief artist statements. That way they can get to the work faster. Now, of course, we do want really think about your statement and take some time to share your love of Poe and share how your work is inspired by this source. But consider trying to cut it down. Kill your darlings here, if nowhere else, and try to keep your statement brief. So those are just some final thoughts that we have not gone over in some of the last sessions. But as you're preparing your works for next week, some things to consider. So I will again go over very briefly some of the topics that we have covered in the last few weeks, but do consider again going back to Saturday Visitor Awards, downloading those guidelines, or going back to some of those videos and seeing either the video about the entry forms, video about the judging, so you have a better understanding of what to expect when the portal opens. All right, so I will share with you the basic sort of high line information about the Saturday Visitor Awards. As you all know by now, the Saturday Visitor Awards are awarded in two categories: adaptations of Poe's live forward works, or original works inspired by Poe. By adaptations, a little bit more of the classical adaptation of Poe's work using Poe's text in a new or original way. We see short films, we see animation, we see sort of, again, those direct adaptations of Poe. Portraits of Poe or other historical figures in Poe's life also qualify here. These are real people, historical figures. So portraiture would fall here. Biography also falls here because of the narrative nature of biography. Now, as we always note, the SVAs are intended to recognize artistic works rather than academic criticism. So this is not a conference, and so academic treatise or other kind of criticism, not really the purpose of the awards here. But biography or some kind of adaptation of Poe's life or works biographical in nature fit in the adaptation category. Other more classical film, dramatic adaptations of Poe's work, they will fall here. Now, we understand these are creative works, artistic works, so there's a little bit of room, and we've seen some very original takes on this category. So it's not as stodgy as it might sound, and there's a lot of room. Now, original works inspired by Poe, a little bit broader category, but some examples might be Poe's life, his character in film, a novel or play. This is not a historical recreation or anything like that, but a dramatic license using Poe as a character or a figure in your piece. Sequels, prequels, other bases for original story. We've seen novels, we've seen original poetry, original works fall here. Now, sometimes these do get a little bit muddy, and because we're talking about a real person and his works, you may kind of skate back and forth a little bit. If there's a question, send that to us and let us help you triage your piece, and so you know which category to submit to. But we'll say again, if you submit to a category and the judges decide that your piece might fit better in the other category, they might kick it over to the other category, and you will not lose any points when that happens. If the judges agree to that your piece is better as in the adaptation category or better than the original works category, the judges may decide to move your piece even after you've submitted it, and you won't lose any points if that happens. So, but again, if there's a question, and there's no question, you definitely want to be in touch with us. Now, traditionally published or distributed works, of course, qualify, but we've seen some not so traditional works too. Social media, podcasts, all kinds of mediums out there with an original bend. So not so traditional works too. And if you are self-published, this also counts. When it comes to eligibility, however, any media, art, performance, and or writing that adapts or is inspired by Poe's life or works must have been released, printed, distributed, or first performed between January 1, 2019 and December 31, 2021. That's the previous 3 years. We talked about why that particular amount of time, but eligibility is on a rolling basis. So your piece is only eligible for this 3-year period of time. If you're just learning about the awards now, and 5 years ago you created something incredible inspired by Poe, and you're just like, darn it, you wanted to submit it for the Saturday Visitor Awards, please know that we do discourage reprinted or re-released materials. The judges kind of don't like something that's a little bit, what's the word I'm looking for? A little bit more calculation and try to like sort of move things around just a little bit, or like move a hair here, and then this is a new work. So if the judges find out that the work was released previously, they kind of look at you with hairy eyeballs, and I don't recommend it. However, if you do feel that the piece has been changed materially, and you really feel that something really big has happened, it's been re-released, and this now makes your piece eligible, get a hold of us ahead of time, ask the question, and it's better to get a hold of us ahead of time so we can help you make the case. Now, a work may be nominated in more than 1 year, but a winning entry may not be entered again. If you have been nominated previously and you came to Baltimore as one of our official nominees, congratulations to you. You can enter your work again, but if you are a winner, you are a winner forever. The winning is eternal, and you may not submit your piece again, either in whole or in part. So kind of important to know that. Additional important things to remember, and again, I like to stress these because we see these mistakes every year, unfortunately. Please understand eligibility. we are looking for completed works that were first released, published, printed, available to be seen by the public at some point in the previous 3 years. If you've posted this on Facebook or posted it on your own website, that does count. Self-published works do count, but you must have published it publicly, available to be seen by the public. Cannot be a private post, that kind of thing. Sometime between January 1, 2019 through December 31, 2021. So what does that mean? If your work is not seeing the light of day, it is January 13th, 2022. You are not eligible for the awards at this time. Make sure you either get your work published, or publish it yourself before the end of this year, and you'll be eligible next year. But December 31 was the final date of eligibility for works. So any works created after December 31 of 2021 are not eligible for this year and will be kicked over for next year. So do please keep that in mind. That does tend to trip people up. So I try to stress that and be as clear as possible about that. You will be asked to provide a working link, a URL to the piece for the judges to view. Now, you can provide a URL to a folder, for instance, that has a number of different elements in it that are important to the piece. As we said, you can have a novel with a cover so that people can see some kind of visual element to help with the work. And that is permissible, but please make sure that that is a working link. We will make one attempt to contact the artist. If the link is broken or requires a password, don't send us something that requires a password. These links will not be shown publicly, so please don't require a password. It trips things up from the judges all the time. But if we cannot reach you or you fail to provide a link, your entry will be disqualified. So one attempt, make sure your contact information is correct, make sure this link is working. And please, if you don't know where the URL is, please ask a friend to help you. Make it easy to view. Again, this is something we see every year. I'm chasing artists down to tell them that we cannot open a TIFF file, or we cannot open, the judges can't open some other file. They don't have a Kindle account, and your link to the free book on Amazon is not going to work. We do need a PDF. We know artists work with crazy programs and file types when they create: After Effects, Photoshop, all kinds of stuff. We need you to deliver the file in a format that's universal and can be opened without any special programs other than a browser. PDFs, PNGs, JPEGs, these are great examples. We do discourage editable files. What do we mean by that? A Word file where somebody could go in and just start typing and change your file, or a Pages file. Somebody can go in and just like changing the format, anything like that. There's a very practical reason why we don't want editable files. The first is that sometimes the formatting just does not come through, and so the judges are looking at something that was created in a font not on their computer, and then everything just gets all messed up. So export your file into PDF, and you won't have that happen. Similarly, anything that something can get sort of like messed up or accidentally deleted or anything like that, don't risk it. You don't want to do that. So give us something that cannot be edited by the judge when they open it. And I probably should have included this in that. I do discourage maybe social media links, a snapshot of the post on social media, that is appropriate, but sometimes the judges will click on something in Facebook, or they'll click on something on Twitter or something like that, and inevitably there's some sort of confusion or difficulty for the judges. So make it easy to view, make it as easy as possible, and assume the judges don't have accounts or Photoshop or Kindle accounts or stuff like that, and just make it easy for everybody. We'll go over, I'm not seeing any questions in the comments because we're live tonight, and we'll be live the next every Thursday the next 2 weeks. Do consider sending your questions if you have them in the chat. I can answer them while I'm here tonight. So I'm looking for those comments as I see them. But other than that, if you could even request that we go over something with a little bit more detail, or another question, things that I'm talking about tonight. But you can, again, if you're shy, you can send via email or the website. And that's a way to get your question to me as well. We'll go over the entry form very, very quickly. just sort of cover all of these things again before the portal opens next week so that there are no surprises. And to make it easy, you can actually find a copy of the actual entry form, available to download from the website as well. So you can get a look at these questions and get those ready before you submit. But just remember, any genre, any medium. Previous SVA nominated works have included short films, feature films, comic books, paintings, sculptures, songs, concerts, animation scripts, novels, poetry, short stories, beadwork. Even if you don't see it in this list, enter it. If your work is inspired by Edgar Allan Poe, we want to see it. So there is no limit here. And there's no age requirement here either. So if you feel like the work is worthy of an SVA, we want to see your piece. You will be asked to provide a description or synopsis of the work, including medium or genre. Also note things that the judges might not be able to see by not being in the presence of the work, like size, dimensions, duration, any site-specific or process details. Tell them that it took 10 hours to do this one detail. You want to share those things so the judges can understand the work that's gone into a piece. The things that might not be readily apparent to the judges upon viewing. This is an opportunity to really share that with them. Now, if you have a long form entry like a novel, or you have a long form entry like a feature film or a podcast series, that kind of thing, creators are asked to provide a link to the entire completed work, then highlight the best 20 minutes or the best 10,000 words. Please understand, we still want to see the complete work, and we want the complete work to be available to the judges to view if they so choose. However, in the first round, I guarantee that the judges are going to be looking at a number of different entries, and so you are asked to provide the highlight, the best 20 minutes or the best 10,000 words for the judges to jump to right away. If you find that if you feel like your opening chapter, that opening sentence that you worked forever on, because that's the sentence to sort of get things going, you want them to see that, you can pick the first 10, you can pick the first 10,000 words, you can pick the first 20 minutes, that's fine too. But you will be asked to provide this excerpt. Now, we're not asking you to kill your darlings, we're asking you to show off some of the best stuff so that the judges have a reason to continue looking at that work and to continue and push you through to the next round. You will be asked if your work is long form. You have an opportunity to do that, and this is what this looks like. If it's long form, you'll provide a page number or provide a timestamp from the file that you're sharing with the judges. So this is how you direct them to the piece that you want them to look at in the first round. If, for instance, though, you have an entire series of things, you've been working on a series of things for over the last 5 years, you want to make sure that the segment that you're entering for consideration is from the period where it is eligible. So January 1, 2019 through December 31, 2021, an episode in that fictional podcast series, for instance, somewhere in this period of eligibility. And that's what the judges will look at. They will not consider anything outside the period of eligibility. And then this is where we talked about that statement, that tip I gave you earlier. How does Poe inspire you? Please describe how Edgar Allan Poe or his writing is a subject or inspiration for this work. And this statement should help the judges understand how the work continues Poe's legacy by adapting his life or works or contributes to his continued presence in popular culture. I know that this is a difficult thing to do. It really is difficult to be succinct and share with the judges probably a mutual love for Poe. But again, try and make your best effort. And we really we encourage that. I see Adrienne Jowdy there in the audience tonight. Hi, Adrienne. How are you? Previous past year's nominee. We're looking forward to more of your work this year. And Adrienne is also a featured artist at Poe House. Thank you, Adrienne. All right. Well, we have covered a lot of the basics. And again, if you have any questions, you want to see a little bit more about the Saturday Visitor Awards, you want to learn more about the process, and you have any other questions, the website to visit is SaturdayVisitorAwards.org. Download those entry guidelines, and there's a portal there to send questions my way if you have them. One big change for people who have entered the awards before, we are limiting the number of entries to one entry per category. So you must, if you submit a piece, you can submit in either or both categories, but you can only submit one piece per category. This is something new for 2022, and so people who have entered previously may not know that. So even if you've entered previously, something to keep in mind. All right. Well, thank you very much, you guys. I'm really enjoying these sessions and spending this time with everyone. And I'm looking forward to the work that we're going to see this year for the awards. Next week, Wednesday, is when the portal opens. You can follow us on social media to get an alert for when the portal is open. We'll be blasting that out on Wednesday, but it is also, again, Poe's birthday. So easy enough to remember. But if you are enjoying this program, or you're enjoying programs like this, Saturday Visitor Awards, the International Edgar Allan Poe Festival and Awards, or if you are just a supporter of Poe and Poe House, please help us keep Poe's chamber door open. You can make a donation to Poe Baltimore by texting Poe Baltimore to 44321 to donate, or visiting poebaltimore.org to learn how you can support us and help. We really do have a number of wonderful programs in the works this year, not the least of which is the Virginia Poe Bicentennial, a most poetical year to honor the beloved wife of Edgar Allan Poe. Muse, poetess, child bride, daughter of Baltimore. She did, in fact, live at Poe House. She plays a very important role in Poe's story, and we will be sharing a little bit more about this often obscure figure as the year goes on. But again, consider your support for Poe Baltimore, and we really do look forward to seeing your work for the Saturday Visitor Awards. Have a good one, guys. Have a great week.